All right, everybody, this will be a warning to all politicians. I'm running for president 2024, part 107, G, I believe. And just wanted to go over some things here and ask a question. Am I too much of a conspiracy theorist? And I want to see if you follow me on some of these things and the questions I have and the things I've noticed. All coincidence? Some things are obvious. You can obviously see a slant in the news media against the president and against the country in general. You can see that they have taken the Democratic Party slant on blaming everything on Trump, and you know, even you see the ads for Biden, it shows the violence in the streets and stuff, and they say it's Trump's fault. Can we go on with all this in the streets? The president has divided us, and as Trump didn't cause all that violence, he's the one that's been condemning it the whole time, and the people on the left are encouraging it. And it's like, so you see stuff like that, and you're like, what the hell? How many people are swallowing this crap? You see the whole thing with the condemnation of the police and them not telling the whole story and skewing the facts and not pointing out, you know, like even in Breonna Taylor, if you go to Officer Tatum's YouTube channel or his I forget what else he's on, but he has a lot of information on that case and the procedures and stuff and on her background, but it's not presented like that. The truth isn't presented to the public. You see a lot of things going on that are just like, wait a minute. You're putting a lot of disinformation and lies out there, and it's like they're shameless about it. They don't care. And you have to look at all the states where they've continued the lockdown and these democratic strongholds and stuff. And I'm not saying COVID isn't serious or anything, but you look at where certain types of businesses and activities like the quote-unquote peaceful protests have been allowed to go on. But if somebody wants to open their gym or a hair salon or a restaurant, a sidewalk cafe they have, or anything, they're denied. And yet, and the big corporations, the Walmart, Home Depot, all the grocery chains, all these things get a free pass. And it's like, you want to tell me you got less chance of getting it going into a Walmart than you do if you went to eat at a cafe or get your hair cut? Come on, it's not making any sense. It's like, oh, the virus won't go into Walmart. You can wear your mask and go into Walmart, but if you wore your mask and went to get a haircut, you might catch it. So it's not making sense. So it seems to be, since these states flipped and went for Trump, it's like these people are being punished, politically punished, for not towing the Democratic Party line. Because they know, and hey, they might even have voter rolls or something. They might have gotten their hands on, you know, who voted for who and all that, and they could be specifically targeting people. And if they're not now, I don't think we're far from that. I really do not think we are far from that, because you see how they attack people openly in the streets. They go and they rip down signs out of people's yards. These people are fanatic about this, and their hatred of Trump and their hatred of the country. Their hatred. Antifa, there's a lady, I think her name was Lisa Morrow, who was a reporter way back when Antifa and all that, and Black Lives Matter and that first started. And they are dead set against capitalism in any way, shape, or form. So if you're a small business owner, especially a conservative well, they don't even care. You can be Democrat small business owner. They are dead set against capitalism. So you look at this, the way they're manipulating Antifa to go and destroy neighborhoods and businesses and stuff like this, and you look at where even where the quote unquote, atrocities by police have taken place. And I say that like that because a lot of them, they're just cops trying to do their job, and the whole story's getting perverted and put out there like, police are hunting us down and all that type of stuff. So you look at where these things are happening, like even starting off with George Floyd, where'd that happen? Up there in Minneapolis. I don't know what that cop's political affiliation was, but I know when, back during the campaign and stuff, and in Obama's days and his campaigns, it seemed like every single incident where someone of color was shot by the police or something like that happened was all of a sudden cast to the forefront. And there was a point to where, I started thinking, because the way they played everything out in the previous elections, way back then, it was like, shit, Hillary and Obama are praying for a shooting. That, because the way they were using it, it's like they didn't care, but they were damn sure going to use it for their own goods, And now you look at it now, it's like, would they go that far? Hey, let's sacrifice somebody for our political means? I think they would. So, and like channel surfing this morning, I crossed the communist broadcasting system, and Gail, what's her name, King there, doing stories on stuff, and you see the Black Lives Matter commercials and the news pieces that are run on it, and it's all about, hey, let's end this stuff and work together and all, and that's so far from the truth it isn't funny. The way they gloss it over and make it look, and when you look at what's going on in the streets, and it's like, who the hell do you people think you're fooling? Maybe the only people they're fooling are the ones who've stayed locked up in their houses and have never looked to anyone else or anything else for information. So they suck all this stuff in and they think everything's all good and this is a good thing. And, it's just, it's beyond on me. It's like, what was that story? The Emperor's Clothes. They're all like, oh, look, and only one, the one little boy has the nerve to yell out and tell him, hey, you're naked. So looking at all this, and here's the other thing that, I noticed last night, Stephen Colbert had Governor, I'm forgetting his name, from Jersey on there, the big guy, who is supporting Trump. And Stephen Colbert kept trying to bait him and get him to say things and about how many lives were lost during COVID because of Trump and all this stuff and everything. And he wasn't biting it. And you could see Stephen Colbert was getting angry, even to the point when the governor made a point about their friendship or having a good time or something like that. Colbert blew it off like, oh, we've never hung out and stuff. And so you gotta wonder if he's really distancing himself from the governor because he wouldn't bow to what he wanted him to say, or is he one of those two-faced people who he's going to go back later and say, hey, I had to say those things because of the other people, because he seemed to be worried about it being exposed that he had a relationship with the governor, a friendship with the governor. And he worried about what the other cronies on the left will say about him having friendship with somebody, one of the enemy, So who knows? But it was just laughable, and to see him and other late night show people who are, we're still cooped up and all this and everything, and just playing the whole thing out, and it's like, who are you fooling? Your type of money, there's no way you've been going somewhere. You people, you've been going somewhere, just like Nancy Pelosi going and getting her hair done. You get on, they get on TV and they're all disheveled and shit, and talking about how hard and what they've been doing to keep busy and all this kind of crap. And it's like, really, I'm sorry, I'm not buying that. But I do. Am I being too much of a conspiracy theorist to think certain areas are being targeted with the restrictions by the virus, and then if they don't buckle to those restrictions, they send in Antifa and BLM to attack people while they're eating and stuff? Who's giving the marching orders? And you look at all their connections, Hollywood and television, the news and the athletics, all their connections with China, the big money coming from China. They pretty much bought Hollywood. And if you look at the movie industry and the media in China, they pretty much own that there. And those people do and say what they're told. So why would it be any different if they put a bunch of money into the industries here? I mean, we saw how LeBron and others caved and wouldn't speak out because they had business dealings with China, with the NBA and stuff. So clearly you can see these people who say they care about all types of stuff. When it comes down to it, all they care about is the money and the power. That's it. That's why I say, you're out there in the streets doing all the crap for them. You're going to ruin your lives. They're going to stay in power. They're going to make money. And you look at the Biden, Obama, Clinton war hawks, and even from the right, the war hawks that Trump has been fighting, getting out of Syria, you look what Hillary, watch that video of Hillary when Muammar Gaddafi got killed. Watch how she laughs like a freaking witch. Now this is another world leader. America is not supposed to be in the business of hiring mobs to go after and kill other world leaders. You look at all that crap, and these people are power drunk, is what they are. There is nothing. They think there is nothing they can't do, that they shouldn't do, to move themselves and their agendas along. And you look at all the quote unquote experts and the analysts and stuff that they put on TV and stuff. And I'm sorry to say, a lot of them, you can tell just by how they're talking, when they're men, especially, they're the homosexual crowd. Demonizing Trump on foreign policy and on handling of coronavirus, and all types of things. There was even a piece on MSNBC that Maddow, what's her name, going hysterical because Trump made some comment about we have some secret new weapons that Russia and China don't know about, and then people in the Pentagon confirmed it, and they were upset about him saying it. And when you look at that kind of stuff, whether we got the weapons or not, maybe Trump's throwing, putting on his best poker face or something, but and then the Pentagon people came out and said that could be part of the ploy too. You don't know. But anyhow, stuff like that, technology's technology. If we got it, they got it. But she's going on how, that's getting us in a new nuclear arms race and all this. China and Russia are not waiting on us to develop something before they try and develop something to count. Do you understand that? Like they're sitting on their hands waiting, okay, America, you go ahead and take the technological lead and then we'll play catch up. That ain't how it works, folks. I need to quit saying folks because Joe Biden says it all the time. But that ain't the way it works. And if you have half a lick of common sense, you should know that's not how it works. Military industrial complexes in whatever country they are, and Russia, China especially, they're not sitting on their hands. waiting for Trump to make some statement about how we got new weapons before they try and develop something. That's just freaking ridiculous. But people sat there and watched that, and then she put on these, lisping, experts talking about this and about how he is ruining our standing around the world by pulling troops back home and stuff. And it's like, we've had troops all over the world for, since World War II, that it's like, all right, how much longer do we need to keep them there? Because if you look at NATO and all those countries, most of them, they might only have a few nuclear weapons, but they have air forces, they have navies. Russia's military is not that huge. So I think Europe can defend itself against Russia, and I really don't think Putin is looking to expand militarily and make it like the old Soviet Union, because he knows the cost of trying to hold and suppress that much territory. It's just not going to work. And he would meet with strong opposition from NATO and from us. So, but they throw all these things, and it's all for the political. It is all for the political race. And they'll throw all these other things out there that don't mean a hill of beans. They'll make you concerned about them. They'll make you vote on them. But when you look at their real brass tacks agenda, the things they have done has only been to cater to the illegal immigration scam of cheap labor, and making profits for a lot of their cronies, catering to the people who don't want law enforcement, like the drug cartels and the street gangs and stuff, catering to the homosexual community and transgender stuff, expanding involvement, nation building, and overthrowing governments, even arming terrorist groups to do it. If you look at, and there's people on the right involved in it too, and Trump's pissed them off too. But I guarantee you, if Biden should somehow, by some catastrophe, get back in office, they will try and again expand our presence in Syria, and they'll tell us to stop a Russian aggression, and they'll definitely be back in Ukraine, because Biden's family has ties there now, and I'm sure there's opposition between the people who sided with Trump there and the people who were on Biden's side. So, and I'm sure Russia would intervene in there somehow, trying to get their own guy in there. So, but you look at all the things that they're playing political games with. And they have this wealth redistribution stuff and reparations and all these things that they're throwing out there. The global warming thing, and this I wanted to make, with the Antifa stuff too. Now, you seen where there was resistance to Antifa and stuff up there in Oregon finally. A lot of people who came from the logging community and the like the good old boy people up there, farmers, ranchers, logging stuff. Now you look at the fires up there, and I'm throwing this out there, and I'm saying even for years previous in California, a lot of those fires, they blamed on the electric company. All right, blamed on the utilities. And they're having to pay all these millions and stuff. I hate to say it, but I think there's somebody with certain agendas having to do with global warming and the leftist political process who's setting some of these fires. Not all of them, but I'm just saying, a lot of them are awful suspicious to me, and they have been. And you have to wonder, right after Antifa and like the Trump supporters and stuff get into it up there in Oregon. I mean, there was fires in California there, for the past couple of weeks, and now all of a sudden, you had that confrontation up there, and now you got him in Oregon. So I'm just saying, am I too much of a conspiracy theorist? I don't know, but it looks really suspicious to me on all the places where the violence is taking place and where the fires are taking place, is where these people are pushing these agendas against capitalism, and they want to push their global warming agendas. I have no doubt that there would be some of these people so extreme about global warming, because after every fire, that's all you hear about. This is due to global warming. This is due to global warming. This is due to our the power grid, the utilities using fossil fuels. So here we go. We got a fire, and then you're blaming the utility. And they want to make a big push for solar. And like I said, hey, solar be fine and dandy if it can meet all our needs, and if somebody will step back and look at the big picture, because like I said, there's no free lunch. There's always a trade-off for everything. And people talk about free. There's nothing free. Stop saying that. Joe Biden, I'll make sure you have free health care and free education. There's nothing free. Can we all just stop with that lying ass bullshit, no matter what side of what you're on, and just say, okay, nothing's free. Let's sit down, because they say that, and then nobody says, well, let's sit down and figure out how we're going to do this equitably and fairly for everybody. There is nothing free. And you can bet your asses they're not going to pay. The people at the top aren't going to pay. Guaranteed. Even if they come along with their quote-unquote wealth tax, those in power will have ways out of it. And it'll end up being, not the super wealthy paying it, but it'll be the middle class and upper middle class paying it. Just like with Obamacare. So am I too much of a conspiracy theorist? You look where all these incidents are taking place, all the violence, all the fires, and everything. They are all in the leftist run cities and states. A lot of it's in states that flipped and went for Trump. So are they getting political payback by suppressing small business? Like I've said, go way back to, the early videos I made doing this. It seems to me there's something driving, an undisclosed outside force is driving all of this, pushing us towards division, pushing us towards race or civil war, because the way they hype every incident, the way they talk about things, it's just unbelievable. To anybody who has half a mind, if you watch CBS Morning News with Gayle King and her cohorts there and sycophants, if you watch CNN and Don Lemon and his sycophant, Como and Anderson Cooper and Christian Amanpour and NPR and all this stuff and everything, you watch it. It's just amazing how they skip over the truth. Just absolutely amazing. And you got to wonder, like this. I said she said they took one of her videos down, so they might have took this one down too. I'm pretty sure her name was Lisa Moreau, and she was a reporter up there in Oregon who covered Antifa way back in like 2014 or something. And she started explaining on who these people really are and what they really believe. And even though they and remember, Black Lives Matter, were the ones who chanted, kill the cops, and then you had that incident there in Dallas. Drove that guy, he was sniping people there in Dallas. So you've had this stuff going on, and you have to wonder, where's the FBI been? Where has the FBI been checking on these people, seeing who their ties are, seeing who they're getting their money from. Because we're not talking about, politics when you're talking about these groups, or like not asking the FBI to go after political opponents. These are groups with a track record of violence and hatred for this country, hatred for the Constitution, hatred for anyone who is living a normal life and taking part in American society. And where's the FBI been? These agents who have been against Trump since the beginning, they've been throwing out all these phony investigations and all this kind of crap. And it's like, wait a minute, why haven't you been watching these people? These domestic terrorists. Why haven't you been tracking down these people and seeing who they're tied to, who are committing very violent acts in our streets, who have murdered people, who've committed arson, and who may be committing arson on our forest? Joe Rogan had a thing on one of his podcasts. This guy was a park ranger who says a lot of gang members and stuff who are wanted and have warrants hide in the national forest. Now, I think they'd be on the leftist side myself. He said, but they'll come across them hiding in the forest with weapons, and that they poach and all this, and we'll just slaughter, and hunt at night and all these types of things. This isn't a well-known thing either. This was news to me when I saw it, but if you go on to Joe Rogan and look for it with the guy from the Park Ranger Service or the game warden, you can see it. And what you also got to wonder about, you hear that a lot of people go missing in our national parks, disappear, never be heard from again. Are they stumbling on these gangs and being murdered? And if they're female, are they being taken prisoner? Are they being held up there in the national forest and being raped? So a lot of things are really suspicious to me right now, with the connections to China, the way like the governor of California operates, and some of the others. It does not make any sense at all for a lot of the things they're doing, and except that they're trying to pay people back or hurt people who didn't go their way, and they're trying to make it so absolutely positively bad because they know they're going to lose the next election, that they want to have as much violence, and like Hillary said, for them to stay in the streets even if Trump wins. They should be in the streets more. And you'll hear that from mainstream media too, from that CBS Gale lady and other people. They'll blatantly say it themselves, or have their special their analysts or commentaries on there, commentators on there who will say the same thing. That's absolutely positively wrong, and it's illegal. It is illegal for them to encourage domestic violence. That's like supporting terrorism, isn't it? So, I don't know. You tell me. Is everything fishy like I think it is? Everything sketchy like I think it is? Or am I too much of a conspiracy theorist? All right, we'll let it go on that one. Wish you all the best out there. God bless, and pray about our future. You know, 'cause I believe there really are people who Some possibly have connections to foreign entities who would like nothing better than to see us in a civil war, and then maybe even help the leftist side regain power. Maybe that's the whole plot of it. Get us in a civil war to where we get to have foreign intervention. How about them apples? World War III right here in America. Say we get in a civil war, the left gets China involved to take their side, and we have to have NATO forces come here and help protect the standing government against the left and the Chinese. What was that movie? Red Dawn? Are we going to have Red Dawn here in America? Tell me what you think. Wish you all the best out there. God bless. Adios.